Hi, I'm your host, Monta Williams, and today on Military Makeover Operation Career, we've got 4 inspirational stories about veterans who found gainful employment after leaving the military. Our first story highlights one company that's committed to the greater good and gives their employees paid time off to volunteer in their communities. Altria realizes that veterans have put their lives on the line in the service of their country, and they've made it their mission to provide them with employment opportunities once they've gotten out.
For myself, I really wanted to serve, and I wanted to serve in a capacity where I was, part of it, not necessarily like a support role. I wanted to be a part of the fight. I wanted to, do something bigger than just my little life. I was deployed over in the Jordanian-Syrian border, and we did medevac for those guys over there. It was a week of nothing, followed by 2 hours of chaos, going to pick up any casualties or anything. So it was a rough transition. I had a rough year whenever I came back, but fortunately for me, I have some really great colleagues and a mentor at Altria.
The Altria Group of Companies, Philip Morris USA, John Middleton Company, and U.S. Smokeless Tobacco are leaders in the tobacco industry.
We're looking at a time where our country is much more diverse than it's ever been before, and people expect companies and brands to speak to them in a very authentic way. My job is really about helping Altria find the best diverse talent that we can possibly find that will help us meet our needs for today and tomorrow. Let me know when they come in. Absolutely, I'll give you a call. Thank you. I expected to have a relatively quiet military career, and that didn't end up being the case. 2 deployments and several hurricane activations later, it took me about 7 years to graduate with my MBA just from all the time away from school. We reach out to veterans because they offer us an opportunity to really touch a very wide, diverse group of people. When I think about the qualities that veterans bring, I think about leadership, I think about discipline, I think about teamwork, I think about perseverance. I think about how they show up to work every day because they have to know the mission. And so if you think about what veterans can add to that line of sight, that laser focus on making sure that we are achieving the goal and we're doing the right work, ultimately is what helps us be successful. What we do focus on when we talk about hiring veterans into the company is what can we do to make the transition easier for them.
I was actually 17 years old when I joined the military, and I spent 8 years in the military. We saw a lot of combat. I had one member of my unit that was killed in action, and I had a few others who were severely wounded from IED explosions because we ran convoys. I struggled every day with PTSD.
The toughest part is coming home. You live so close and you work so close with a group of people that you are your family, for the time that you're over there. And when you come home, you're kind of isolated.
We have an employee resource group that's focused on military veterans called Salute. That is wonderful, and what we tend to do when we know is when we have new veterans in the company, we try to link them up with Salute.
Salute is here for basically military employees. On a localized level, we serve the community, and we look at what can we do to hire more vets into these positions, and what are we looking for, and working closely with HR and different leaders to achieve those goals.
Brandon White is an individual who really has taken to Salute and galvanizing his employees in the area that he works to really help make an impact on the company.
Using Salute as my platform, I can actually drive towards more volunteer hours that benefit veterans.
I chose Altria because we have wonderful people.
Here, when I meet people, they hug me. It's definitely like a big family. It's like when I go home and my husband hugs me. That's how I feel here. You go to a unit meeting, people hug you.
I would encourage any vet, if you're looking for a place where you can be challenged, that's going to support you, that's going to give you different opportunities, that's going to allow you to really push the limits of what you're capable of and continue to grow and compensate you well at the same time, I would encourage Altria at the drop of a dime.
Our next story features an independent federal agency that ensures and regulates the nation's credit unions. The National Credit Union Administration includes diversity and inclusion among its core values, and this includes hiring veterans. They appreciate the strong work ethic and leadership skills that vets bring with them after having served in the U.S. military.
I was 25 years old when I chose to go into the Air Force Reserve, and I really wanted to serve my country.
Amber Garvius is one of those phenomenal employees. She's an outstanding contributor to the agency. She has that mentality of service, and that's what NCUA is about, is serving.
Created by the U.S. Congress in 1970, the National Credit Union Administration, located in Alexandria, Virginia, is an independent federal agency that insures and regulates federally insured credit unions across the United States.
The overall mission of the NCUA is to ensure that we have a safe and sound credit union system.
To properly achieve that mission, the NCUA looks to its wide and diverse workforce. None are more mission-oriented than its veterans.
When we go out to recruit, we look for people who have diverse backgrounds.
Hey, Daddy, how are you doing? Hi. That means experience, education, and we feel like veterans are a perfect match or a natural fit for our agency because they come with leadership skills, they come with a mindset of being accountable, and they are a highly educated workforce as well.
I always grew up with an appreciation for our country and the opportunities it provides us. My father served in the Air Force, so I found the military as a great place to go get some skills, see a little bit of the world. And the Marine Corps was a challenge. It was something I wanted to prove to myself I could do. So I enlisted in the Marine Corps in combat infantry.
David Combs is phenomenal, and his background is very unique. He served in several branches of the military and came into a credit union examiner position. As he was transitioning, you know, he told us that this position was fit for him.
The NCUA had an opening for an examiner position that fit my background, and it showed me a way that I could protect the safety and soundness of our financial institutions and still serve my country, so I thought it was a great fit for what I wanted to do. The NCUA does quite a bit to recognize, support, and develop veterans who work for the agency or consider working for the agency. We have an employee resource group known as Veterans at NCUA Serving, VANS. And it's an opportunity for us to get together, make recommendations to management as to how better understand the veteran story.
It's one of our largest employee resource groups that we have here at NCUA with over 50 employees that participate, but it does represent all of our branches of the military. And part of what VANS does too is it helps bridge and connect people across the organization. There's nothing on earth like a military group of people getting together. It doesn't matter if I've met you before or not. If I hear that you have served and I have served, we instantly have a connection and something to talk about because there's a bond there that just happens. And that's part of what that ERG does. It brings those group of people together.
So if I had a chance to talk to a veteran and they asked me what I do and if I'd recommend other veterans, come to work for the NCUA, I would unequivocally say yes. The NCUA is a great place for veterans.
If you are looking for an exciting environment that is constantly changing, the regulatory environment is perfect for you.
One of the world's leading biotechnology companies, Amgen, uses cutting-edge science and technology to develop therapies to help those who suffer from serious diseases. And knowing that vets have previously dedicated their lives to the service of others is what motivates Amgen to actively recruit them.
Amgen is one of the world's leading biotechnology companies. With a biology-first approach, Amgen uses cutting-edge science and technology to study the subtlest biological mechanisms in search of therapies that will improve the lives of those who suffer from serious diseases.
Amgen leverages the potential of biology to develop, discover, and manufacture and deliver advanced therapeutics for serious illnesses for people all over the world. We leverage technology and innovation to be able to accomplish that kind of mission. It's a tremendous mission.
Amgen recognizes the values and qualities that unite military veterans and professionals with their mission to serve the patient.
Amgen is an absolutely amazing company. I immediately connected with Amgen when I first got out of the military because of its mission. Coming from a military background where you're part of a mission that's significantly larger than yourself, it truly resonates with me, the mission of serving patients and having that kind of impact on personal lives.
So as a mission-driven organization of Amgen, at the heart of it, the veteran spirit and the Amgen spirit is the same spirit. Our spirit is about serving patients.
I think also Amgen has a strong team and collaboration culture. And much like when you're serving, the expectation that you're working as a team, it feels comfortable and natural when you come to Amgen to experience the same.
My mission in Amgen is to protect Amgen's ability to innovate and serve patients. So I am in the business of cybersecurity. Basically, I own the technology ecosystem that provides the security controls to enable the business to manufacture and deliver these advanced therapeutics to our millions of patients across the world.
I've been at Amgen for 2 years now. In my current role, I actually am a part of the financial integration. I do integrations and acquisitions from a system perspective.
I actually joined the U.S. Air Force out of Tampa, right here out of MacDill Air Force Base, just down the road from the Amgen site. Initially, I was actually in the logistics area for the first 3.5 years of my career, and I retrained into communications operations, which is your traditional IT field on the commercial side.
I enlisted in 1995. I did 2.5 years in the Army. I was stationed in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. My job there was property book accounting clerk, which translates to accounting clerk in civilian terms. The discipline and training that I received from my military background, I also apply in my current work-life positions that I have today. That includes discipline, having integrity, being very strong-willed, and being a leader, being strong and always having that can-do attitude and not letting anything defeat me.
The military culture is very deep and ingrained in the military service members that leave the organization. And for some, it's a challenge to go into the commercial sector where things change. So a lot of what's being offered by Amgen and the outreach is actually very proactive.
I do think that Amgen does have, great opportunities for many different skill sets. So veterans getting out shouldn't be thinking, because I'm not a scientist, I won't fit, right? Being strong leaders, being used to change management, all those things are great skills that you can bring here to Amgen that Amgen actually looks for when they're hiring.
There's an outstanding veterans program in Amgen. Amgen Veteran Employment Network is a global organization. The outreach has grown tremendously, and this is something that I'm very passionate about because I just recently went through it. Our senior-most leaders in the company are strong supporters of our AVN network, and I'm very proud to be part of that.
We try to do what we can to help connect from what's the work that you've been doing during your military service to how could that actually fit into particular roles at Amgen. And we do our best through our recruiting team to help individuals understand what those opportunities might be and help get them connected with the teams and the managers who have those opportunities today.
The culture that had been instilled in us as service members is actually embodied in Amgen. In the military, you don't give up. You work very hard. There's a sense of accountability, honor, duty, integrity. And those all resonate, are actually embodied in the same values that reside here in Amgen.
Quicken Loans, a leading mortgage provider, is also one of America's largest VA lenders as well. And they're not only dedicated to helping veterans get home loans, they've also developed an internal program that gives vets and their spouses the skills and training needed to become vital members of the Quicken Loans team.
The team members at Quicken Loans know that qualified loan officers, software engineers, and customer service reps are a commodity, and there's no greater supplier of qualified individuals familiar with dedication, service, and leadership than the men and women who've served in the United States Armed Forces.
Quicken Loans is the nation's largest lender for home loans. What we do is create the American dream for individuals and help them with their financial goals. I joined the world's greatest Air Force in 2007. Part of the goal was to further my education. They have great benefits when it comes to like tuition assistance and the GI Bill. Majority of my military career I was stationed in Lackland Air Force Base. I also spent some time in Biloxi, Mississippi, as well as a deployment in Afghanistan on a joint operation. One thing that makes me really proud about working for Quicken Loans, we have a team that dedicates 100% of their time to creating career opportunities for service members and veterans and their families and military spouses. So it's vets helping vets. We do that from the client standpoint. We're a top VA home loan lender, helping individuals with their home loan needs. And the third piece is our community support. We've done over 300,000 hours of community volunteerism for veteran nonprofits. We have donated over $1 million with our very own Rocket Mortgage Classic. We do our Shot for Heroes program, where every shot raises money for veteran nonprofits.
I was in the military for 10 years. I joined because I needed some life direction. I became a naval aviator and rescue operator. Ended up spending 10 years in, 2 of those in training, and 3 of those as a naval instructor. I reached out to Quicken Veteran Hiring Recruiting Team prior to me actually separating from the military. Having the experience I had in military logistics and supply chain, they found me a spot within the family of companies using that experience.
I have been with Quicken Loans for 7.5 years, and my job specifically is to develop them and give them the tools and resources they need to complete a loan process with the client. Since I was very young, I've always had this dream or vision that I wanted to serve. So my parents had to sign a waiver. I was 17, scared out of my mind. I served about 3 years roughly active duty in the Air Force. I was stationed in Washington State, down at Joint Base Lewis McChord, and I received a medical discharge, and I transitioned back to civilian life. It was very hard. I felt like that I wasn't a part of a team anymore. My identity was wearing that uniform and serving my country. I am extremely thankful that the recruiter that hired me in the Air Force knew that I transitioned out of the military and was working here. And not only did he help me get into the military, he also helped me get in here to Quicken Loans. Quicken Loans is more than just a lender. The fact that we have a team that are wanting and willing to go that extra step to seek out veterans, there's nothing that can be compared to that, in my opinion.
I'm grateful to be able to work for an organization that is so committed to serving the military and veteran community.
I will never forget the sacrifices the brave men and women have made before me.
It's just an honor to be a part of this organization, but also to know that, we're not alone.
For more information on Quicken Loans, please check out their website at myrocketcareer.com.
Transitioning from military service to the civilian workforce can be challenging, but it's nice to know that there are companies out there these days that are actively looking to hire veterans. These companies recognize that veterans have a lot to offer because they are goal-oriented, they're disciplined, and they bring great life experience to the table. I'm Montel Williams, and thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Military Makeover Operation Career. We'll see you next time.